I've told you. We should be praying. We should pray hard for this country. If anybody tell you your prayer does not count, tell him he's a liar.
Yes, sir.
I've seen God change many things because of your prayer here. Amen. Pray for Africa. I see more riots. More riots across Africa. Protests. Let me know if the word riot. Protests. I see more protests. More protests. I see a situation that there will be protests in Africa. That's for president. They will not even sit for long. They will use protests and protest them out. So I said Africa. Africa.
CGTN, China Global Television Network.
Now, in other news on the continent, the U.S. has deployed about 80 troops to Gabon over fears of unrest in nearby Democratic Republic of Congo. President Donald Trump says the forces may be used to protect Americans in the DRC if violence escalates over the disputed election there. Suspicion is growing over last week's presidential vote, with the government squaring off against the Catholic Church over a delay in results. CGTN's Chris Wheelock has the latest.
Elected from 40,000 observers show a clear winner in the election, but it's barred by law from naming a winner, something only the Election Commission can do. Instead, Catholic bishops called on the government to publish accurate results, a call that drew criticism and a rebuke from the commission. Tensions are running high in Kinshasa and elsewhere, with few now expecting provisional election results to be released on Sunday as planned.
We are concerned that these efforts to silence dissent could backfire considerably when the results are announced. And we are watching carefully, and we are calling on all sides to refrain from the use of violence.
In Sudan, where President Omar al-Bashir has told police to exercise restraint when dealing with protesters. Bashir was reacting to recent protests in the country, which have led to the deaths of 19 people. Anti-government rallies have rocked cities across the country since December. On Friday, protesters once again took to the streets from a mosque in Omdurman, parallel to Khartoum on the west bank of the Nile, but they were swiftly confronted by police who fired tear gas to disperse them.
This crowd, this movement, still has momentum. But it is the military who controls Sudan. How they will be removed is still unclear.
Hundreds of thousands of Algerian demonstrators took to the streets Friday following the announcement of a presidential election on July 4. 77-year-old interim president Abdelkader Ben Salah is barred under the constitution from running in the upcoming election. Abdelaziz Bouteflika resigned on April 2 after weeks of protests from Algerians. Protesters doubt the credibility of the upcoming elections, which they believe is a government ploy to stay in power.
Opposition protesters in Zimbabwe cry foul as clashes with police intensifies on Friday. Police officers fired tear gas at the protesters in an attempt to disperse the angry crowd. The opposition protesters chanting and holding up signs denounced the Zimbabwean government, describing it as fascist. The court early Friday rejected application from the opposition party, the Movement for Democratic Change, to declare the planned protest action to be legal.
And especially Zimbabwe. Also should pray for Zimbabwe, because the president on seat is not safe. It's not safe. I see a situation, if God does not intervene, because we always pray for God's intervention, that's why He reveals.
Yes, sir.
Because when protest begins, at the end of the day, even if they succeed, the lives that are gone can never come back.
Yes, sir.
So that's what we always pray. So we pray for the stability of that nation, Zimbabwe. Pray for Zimbabwe and then across Africa. Because if God does not intervene, it will become like a football match. Play today, play tomorrow, play tomorrow, play.
Opposition supporters in Zimbabwe had already assembled in Harare when their protest was called off. Police had banned it on Thursday, a decision that was upheld by the High Courts. But when protesters refused to leave, police responded with tear gas and clubs and knocked at least one woman unconscious.
The situation is very bad. In our premises, we don't have any food, no any money, not even anything. We are trying to solve. That's why we came here. We want to solve our problem, but how can we solve our problem when they hit us?
Friday's demonstration was meant to begin a series of opposition protests. It would have been the first since rallies against President Emmerson Mnangagwa in January ended in deadly clashes. Zimbabwe's economy has been deteriorating. There are shortages of food and skyrocketing prices. Protesters say the president hasn't kept his promise to turn things around.
We are not backing down. We are going forward. The people of Zimbabwe are tired, they are fed up. They want to end this long suffering. So we are proceeding with the marches for a free Zimbabwe.
This rally isn't just about the economy. Protesters say anti-government activists have been abducted and tortured. Human rights groups have criticized the government's response.
There were worrying reports of threats against citizens who wish to exercise their right to express their opinions of the economic situation via peaceful protests, with allegations of increased surveillance of and threats against civil society organizations by state agents.
Mnangagwa says he's invited the opposition for dialogue, but protesters say this isn't the way to ask. Usman Aliyu Uba, TRT World.